Welcome guys to the Crazy Hands Knitting and Crocheting channel. In this video tutorial I would like to show you how to knit a trapper hat. This hat is popular and fashionable last 2 seasons. So today I would like to share with you the main idea how to knit it, and there are lots of versions how you can do it, but basically they are almost the same, just some minor differences. Before I was doing the same trapper hat using a super bulky yarn from Lion brand, Thick and Quick. The pattern you can find in my shop on my blog. And for this hat I was using Chinese yarn, so I ordered it from China directly. So it is said that it's a mink wool. It is super soft yarn. Nothing is said about weight, of course, uh, but it has 350 meters per 50 grams ball, and there is also extra yarn. So we are going to use this also yarn. So it's super thin, and it comes in the same color with the main yarn, and it is important to use it especially when you're knitting ribbing like hats and cuffs. But if you are just for example want to knit a sweater, so it's okay uh, not to use extra yarn. And I'm going to knit in 8 strands together, so 4 strands of the main yarn and 4 strands of the extra yarn. So I have 4 balls, and at the same time I'm going to knit them. So what you can take? You can take, for example, a DK yarn, about 90 or 100 meters per 50 grams ball, and knit in 2 strands. Or take the even lighter yarn, the fine yarn, and knit in three uh, 3 strands together. Regarding the needles, I'm going to use 5 millimeters knitting needles for the main part and 3.5 for this folded part. So this is a nice technique that I'm also going to show you how to do this folded edge, and it's a very handy skill to have because later on you can use it for shaping the neckline. So how to understand what yarn you need to use. So first of all, take the yarn that you would like to knit. Take the 5 millimeters knitting needles and knit a small swatch in stockinette stitch. And in stockinette stitch, I had 19 stitches in 10 centimeter swatch. Then you can also knit another swatch using the main ribbon, so it calls fisherman's ribbon. And again you need a swatch, and then you measure it, and I had 13 stitches in 10 centimeters swatch. So that's how you can check your gauge. But as I said, you can use a DK yarn in knitting in 2 strands of yarn together, or even lighter yarn than 3 strands, or use the same yarn as I'm using. It's fingering yarn, and then you knit in 4, or you can, if you don't have extra yarn, then even in 5 strands together. And I forgot to say that for this hat we are going to use a provisional cast on method. For this you will need hook and the scrap yarn. Make a slip knot and chain 70. You will need only 64, but we always chain extra. Please go on and I will see you after. So chain 70. Now you can cut the yarn, and now we are going to work in the back of chain. So for this I take the yarn and we are going to pick up. So this is the front side, this is the back side of the chain, and through these ridges or bumps we are going to pick up 64 stitches. So let me show you how we are going to do it. Take the yarn, as you remember I have 8 strands. 8 strands together, and let's start picking up 64 stitches, moving leftwards. So this is the first one, second, so through the back ridge, third, fourth. If you find it difficult to pick up using knitting needle, then you can use and help yourself with a hook. Pick up 4-5 stitches and then slip them to the knitting needles, and again pick up 5 and slip using hook. Please go on picking up 64 stitches. And now when you have 64 stitches, so this is for the head circumference 54 centimeters. We are going to join and knit in rounds. Place the stitch marker and start knitting the ribbon. Knit 1, pull the tail, check that all your stitches are not twisted, and go on. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. Like this you go on ribbing this first round till the end. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. That's what you have. Please finish this round. And now round number 2. And to get that beautiful and fluffy ribbon, we are going to use a fisherman's rib stitch. So you knit not into the next one, but one below. Here, knit one below and drop. Purl stitch, you purl it as a purl stitch. So here, as you see, I purl through the back loop. Please go on purling as you know. Just if your stitch is looking like this, then you purl through the front loop. I purl mine through the back loop because in the previous round I grabbed the yarn a little bit differently. So again, knit one below, not in the next stitch, but one below, and purl one. If you would read the description, you would see knit one below, purl one. So don't stress up about the purl stitch, just purl it as you know. Knit one below, purl one. Knit one below, purl one. Knit one below, purl one. And like this go on purling till the stitch marker. And now round number 3, we are going to repeat round number 1, just a normal ribbon, knit 1, purl 1. Again, I purl through the back loop, but it's just a normal purl stitch. Knit 1, purl 1. Knit 1, purl 1. Knit 1, purl 1. Knit 1, purl 1. Please finish this round. And now round number 4 will be the same as round number 2. So not in the next stitch, but one below. Knit one below, purl one. And again, knit one below, purl one. Showing it slowly. Knit one below and drop, purl one. Knit one below, purl one. And like this you go on knitting, alternating first and the second rounds, and you knit until the hat reaches at least 18 centimeters, 18 or 19 centimeters. Here I am, that's what I have, and let's measure the hat now. As I said, 18 centimeters. And now we are going to start knitting in rows. So for this we will need 2 stitch markers, and I forgot to tell you that the last round has to be just a round where you knit and purl. So now knit one below and place your first stitch marker. In my case it is yellow one. Then we are going to count 45 stitches. 6, 8, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 3, 4, 5, 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 more stitches here. 45 stitches and place another stitch marker. Let's count one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 5 more stitches, 45. And now we are going, so I place here the blue stitch marker, sorry. And now we are going to knit in rows, slip the first stitch, so we count it is as a selvage stitch, and knit in fisherman rib from blue stitch marker till the yellow stitch marker. Now you knit one below purl 1, then when you turn the work you will knit one purl 1, and this is our back part. We are doing it a little bit longer than the front one. So go on knitting till the yellow stitch marker. At the end we are going to purl the last stitch. Always purl the last stitch as a selvage stitch. Turn, and now slip the first stitch as we did before. Next you see the purl stitch, you purl it. Then knit stitch, you knit it. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Go on knitting till the blue stitch marker. At the end, purl the last stitch, then turn your work and repeat last 2 rows twice more to get in total 6 rows. I have done 6 rows. As you may see now, the back part is longer than the front one, and from this point we are going to start knitting ear flaps. So count from the blue stitch marker 19 stitches, 19, then place the stitch marker, then count 7 stitches, then place again stitch marker, and other 19 stitches till the yellow stitch marker, 19. So it is the second ear flap. So we're going to start the knitting first one the same as we did before, and after that the second one. So we are knitting from this point till the purple stitch marker back and forth. Slip the first stitch, knit one below, purl 1, 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 till the purple stitch marker. Knit one below, purl 1, knit one below, purl 1, and one more time, and purl the last stitch. Now turn, slip the first stitch, and the next one is a purl stitch, purl it, and then just knit. Not knit one below, but knit stitch. Purl 1, knit 1. Purl 1, knit 1. till the beginning. At the end, purl the last stitch. Now turn and go on repeating these 2 rows until your ear flap reaches at least 12 centimeters. Could be more if you want. So let's measure ear flap. I said 12 centimeters, and you have to measure from the back part because the back part is longer. So if you measure from the front part, it is about 13 and a half, 14 centimeters. But from the back part, as the back part is longer, it's uncomfortable to measure it here, but it has to be about 12 centimeters. As I said, it could be more. And now let's bind off the first ear flap. And we are going to use just a usual bind off method here. Slip the first stitch, knit the next stitch, and slip first over the second, then purl one and again slip over, then knit one. When you see knit stitch, you knit it. When you see purl stitch, you purl it. Knit one, slip over, purl one, slip over, and repeat. That's what you have. One more, and please bind off till the end. So that's what I have, and the last stitch, purl one, slip over, and that's it. Pull the yarn and make a knot. Let's cut here. And knot. The first ear flap is ready, and now we are going to start knitting the same one, the second one, but before we have to bind off these 7 stitches on the back part that are between 2 ear flaps. Let's attach the yarn. And using the same needles, I'm going to knit the first stitch here, then purl the next stitch and slip over. So now we bind off the first stitch only. Repeat doing the same. Knit one, and slip over. The second one, the third one, fourth, fifth, sixth, and now we need to bind off the last stitch, this one. So purl one, and slip over. So we count this first stitch as a selvage stitch of our ear flap. Now go on knitting again. Knit one below, purl one, knit one below, purl one, as we did for the first ear flap. Knit one below, purl one, knit one below, purl one, knit one below, purl the last stitch. Now turn, and as before, slip the first stitch and then purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one. Purl one and purl the last stitch. Turn. And again repeat last two rows until you reach the same length. And after that, don't forget to bind off as we did also for the first ear flap. After that, we will go on knitting the visor. So I've done the second ear flap, that's how it looks. And for the visor, we are going to use all other stitches. For this, we turn the hat in this way and going to attach the yarn. I'm going to use again the same needles, and only here I start knitting the first stitch, knit one, purl one, and this row we are going to knit one, purl one. Usually we are going to slip the first stitch, but when we attach the new yarn, we knit it. We knit the first. So knit one, purl one. And the last stitch we purl it. Turn, slip the first stitch, and here knit one below, purl one, knit one below, purl one, knit one below, purl one, till the end. Purl one, knit one below, and the last one always purl. Pull the tail and repeat. Slip the first stitch, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one. Like this, you go on knitting back and forth until you reach desired length. It could be short visor or it could be long visor. It's up to you and as you like. So look and let's measure how many centimeters. My visor is 11 centimeters. Use the same bind off method as you used for the ear flap. Now turn the head. This is the right side. So now you turn right side out and we are going to start shaping the crown. For this, what we are going to do, we need to unravel provisional cast on method. Just find the chain with a knot. You can untie it or just cut it. I will better cut it. It will be faster. And you need to pick up all leaf stitches. And now you're going unzip and pick up leaf stitches. So this is the first one. Then the second. I think something wrong. I think I didn't start from the right side. It has to be easier. Yes, yes. I have started doing it on the wrong side. You need to cut the yarn and start picking up stitches from the other side. Not from here, but okay. So you pick up leaf stitches till the end here. I anyway decided to show you that I was wrong, so I cut the yarn from another side and you see it is easier and faster. So unravel, you just pull the yarn and pick up the stitch, pull the yarn and pick up the stitch. What I did before was wrong and it would take me a lot of time to unravel and pick up. And now you see it is easier and fast and fun, of course. Go on till the end. Count again that you have all stitches on your needles and now place the stitch marker, and what we are going to do, we are going to attach the yarn that is half of what we were knitting before. I was knitting in 8 strands of yarn, uh, for uh, 4 main and 2 extra, and now I am going to use only 4. It means 2 main strands and 4 extra. If you are knitting in 2 strands of yarn, then it's time to knit in 1 only. If you are knitting in 4 strands of yarn, you're going to knit in 2. And this round we are going just knit 1 purl 1, just a normal ribbon, go until the stitch markers and then 2 more rounds. I've done in total 3 rounds of ribbon, knit 1 purl 1, and now I'm going to decrease. So what I'm doing, slip the first stitch, knit the next one and pass over, slip, knit, pass over, slip, knit, pass over, slip, knit, pass over. Like this, go on decreasing till the stitch marker. Here I am, we've done all decreases. Now cut the yarn. Here you can use a yarn needle or tapestry needle or hook. Thread the yarn, and slip all remaining stitches. On this side and here. And here also. So at the end we have half of the stitches that we cast on. Pull tight like this. And now pull the needle on the wrong side. Here you will need to pull tight to close the hole and go underneath remaining stitches, at the same time pulling the tail. I'm usually doing it twice or 3 times, going around. Now make a knot and you can go again underneath. and from this side. That's it. Later just cut the yarn. That's how the hat is looking now, and if you decide to knit and ties like pie cord, it's time to do them now. So you just find the center, count braids from both sides, find the center here, pick up at least 3 stitches, and if you want ties you need an I-cord. You can find how to knit an I-cord, also there is a video tutorial on my blog. And now here I want to remove this jog. For this I just take the tail that we attached while binding off and putting it here, and later on you can weave it in ends. Just what I'm going to do now, I'm going to split the tail and find the nearest stitch, pull one part and make a knot. We need smooth edges because we are going now to pick up stitches around the edges, so no jogs. And now for the folded edge, the same, I'm going to use only 4 strands of yarn, so the half from what I was using, and using 3.5 millimeters knitting needles. Start at the back part, picking up stitches all the way across, just one by one. One here, I think I will need a hook to help myself here. Cannot pick up this, and my hook is too big. Let's try again with needles. Okay, almost. The next one will be here, and as soon as you reach the corner, pull the tail here. As soon as you reach the corner, you will need to be careful here and pick up next stitch in a way that you will not get a hole. So for this, sometimes I turn the stitch. So what I'm doing, here is the next stitch. If I just pick it up, I will get a hole at the end. So you see, I just turn it and knit it at the same time. Don't afraid to do this if you see that you will get a hole. So you twist the next stitch. Then I pick up the bar between and the next stitch and doing something like knit two together. And that's what I have. After that, pick up stitches along the first ear flap, so you see the selvage stitches. Insert your needle underneath both loops, yarn over and pull up a loop. It's easier here, everything will be smooth. And if I didn't say, you will need, it is better to use at least 80 centimeters circular needles. 100 centimeters will be even better. Just don't have such. And now the first stitch, it will be our corner of the bottom part of ear flap. Then along the edge here that we bind off, and like this you go on picking up stitches around the whole head, around the visor here. The same here. You see long bars, so you will need to turn them or twist them this way and then knit it. Then here, and I will meet you at this point. Now when we picked up all stitches, that's what I have. That's why I said you will need a little bit more than 80 centimeters circular needles, but it's okay, even like this. Please place the stitch marker here and let's start knitting. So knit all stitches till the end of this round, and then knit in the same stockinette stitch 9 more rounds. So I'm knitting in total, I'm going to knit in total 10 rounds. Don't know what yarn you're going to use, you can also knit even 12. So simply knit all stitches. And yes, if you don't have 3.5 millimeters knitting needles, you can use also 3 millimeters knitting needles. I was using before 3 millimeters, it was okay, and I've got the same result. The first round will be, the first maybe 2 or 3 rounds will be a little bit hard to move stitches as I'm using short circular needles, but after everything will be faster and easier. So go on, finish this round and 9 more rounds in stockinette stitch. Here I am, guys. So that's how it looks. And now you will need a hook, and we are going to fold the edge. So what I'm doing, I find the first stitch and I insert the hook in that point. So hook, I'm using 2.5 millimeter crochet hook here. It's better to use a little bit smaller size than knitting needles, and insert the hook in the place where I picked up my first stitch. One more time, so here it is. How to check whether you are on the right place? So turn and you see the braid here, the braid that appeared while you picked up stitches, so this one, and your hook has to be underneath this braid here and then here underneath the braid, so you have to cover this braid and it will be inside the folded edge. So find the first stitch, again go down, insert. Now what are you doing? Slip the first stitch from the left hand needle, make yarn over, pull through the stitch, then pull through the place where you insert the hook. So this is the first stitch that we have. Then find the next stitch, so we are underneath the braid, again slip the next stitch, yarn over and pull through both loops. Now you have two loops on your hook and then pull through the third one. Let's go doing it again. Find the next stitch, double check you are underneath the braid, slip the next stitch, now make a yarn over and pull through two now and pull through the third one. Let's do it again. Next stitch, always double check it with the next stitch on your needle. And pull through here. And on the right side you will see this beautiful braid, and the braid on the wrong side will be hidden inside the folded edge. Slip and pull through three. Very nice technique to know. It is very popular for necklines. So if you learn how to do it, it's not hard, absolutely. Just takes a little bit of time. yarn over and pull through 3 loops. Okay, go on doing everything what I did before, and I will see you till the end and will show you how to join last and the first stitches. So I'm at the end and just one stitch. So let's go down, follow the stitch, you go down, and here is the place. Underneath the braid, slip the stitch, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like this. And now find the first one. Just a second, here is the first one, and just make a slip stitch to join. Slip stitch, and now pull it and cut the yarn leaving the tail. And now you have to pull this tail on the wrong side, and make a knot. One, two. So now you can take tapestry needle, yarn needle, and weave in ends, so you can hide all tails inside the folded edge. So for example, and about the visor, you need to sew it. So I have a tail from one side only, pull it back and use it to sew one part. After, you will need to attach another tail and sew another part of another corner of the visor, and all other tails will be hidden inside the folded edge. So that's it. After that, when you finish everything, uh, wash your hat. After that, uh, dry it on the flat surface, dry flat. Here you see lots of tails, so don't forget to weave in ends. You can, by the way, do it after the washing. That's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you have got a beautiful trapper hat. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this tutorial, like this video, leave comments if you have any questions. I will see you soon. Bye!